on what was my dad's 2009 Nissan Altima 2.5S. And you see these rotors? Well, this side actually doesn't look too bad. But this other side now. Oh yeah. That is not what you want to see when you pull your tire off and look at your rotors. This thing needs some rear brakes very badly. So, guess what'll be coming soon? Rear brakes on this bad boy. Front brakes too. I found some front brake pads here too. I don't know which is which. I'll have to get on O'Reilly's website and see. But yeah, I'll have to get these rotors turned. You don't want to see these streaks in your rotors. Those can sometimes lead to cuts, warping, you name it. That is not good. So you want to make sure and take care of your rotors just like you take care of your brake pads. Get your rotors turned, get new rotors, whichever it happens to be. I think these new ones are only good for one turning. I'm not entirely sure, but from when I worked at the parts store, that's about what we got out of them. About one turn out of some new rotors. And then you have to buy another set. But that's just some simple little maintenance. So now clean everything up, put it all back together, and we're on our way. Alright, so here we are the next day, because of course the way my look goes, it was very difficult. Mainly, so these were the easy ones, the caliper bolts. But now this one right here, and its little brother right here. Oh, I had to pull out all of my leverage tricks to get those bad boys off of there. That was a tough one. But it still wasn't that bad. Only took me about 10 or 15 minutes. A little bit of struggling, because I can't use my right shoulder still, but I got it done. Now, the passenger side, I don't know what the deal with this trailing arm is. I don't know if the geometry on it's different or something else is here, but I could not hardly get in here. I couldn't get my cheater bars on there. I couldn't get my bigger wrenches on there. I barely got my hammer in there after whacking my fender well a couple times and my fingers a couple times. And so finally, after I talked to my buddy, I had to come out here and bring my propane. And grab my camping propane torch and hit each of these big bolts here for about a minute and a half a piece till I smelled that WD-40 burn off and I started smelling oil and grease. And I knew that bad boy was getting hot, and it was only a matter of time before it popped off. So I gave them about 90 seconds each with that flame, and I was able to get my wrench in just about from here to here. I had about that much room to break that dude loose. And it was tough. It was tough with that fender well is lower, I guess, on this side. And so I couldn't get my wrenches on there right. Man, that was a struggle. But I finally got it broke loose. Finally got the caliper sitting down there. It looks like it's okay. Not leaking or anything. But man, that was a struggle. So now, it's time to get these rotors off. I'm sure this is where the fun's going to begin for me. Apparently, you just, I guess, pull this out and knock it off. But it's got this plate on the back of it. Probably have to rotate it and smack it from right here where this caliper's in the way, of course. So I'll have to hold that out of the way while I'm doing it. This is going to be fun. Alright, well, let's get it done. Alright, so I got the driver's side rotor off. It looks like the parking brake is mounted up behind it, which I guess I should have known. I probably did. I guess I forgot. I've done them before on my Camaro. Looks like the dust cover stays on there. Luckily, I don't have to worry about getting that thing back on there. But those parking brakes are gone. Nothing but bare metal. Just like the regular brake pads. Those are nothing but bare metal. No pad left at all. That's why that rotor was so scratched up. See, there's the back side. You can see it even worse because of all the dust in the grooves. Makes it look bad. And then here's the front side of that one. Pretty rough, pretty rough. Around the outside, you can see the groove all the way around. And the inside where the parking brake is, look at that, you can see that. Nothing but bare metal on metal. So I'm gonna hopefully get this turned. It looks like it's thick enough to withstand a turning. Hopefully. Maybe I won't have to buy a set of rotors. But of course, the passenger side has not come off yet. Like most car projects, if it starts off a problem, it's going to be a problem all the way till you get it buttoned up. I can't get it off, so I have enlisted the help of one of the very first tools that my dad actually gave me. This big old Craftsman flathead screwdriver. This thing is very, very useful, especially as a pry bar, which is what I'm about to use it for. And we're going to see how this works out. Hopefully I won't break anything. And once again, Dad comes in for the win, even when he's not here. Should have paid more attention when I was younger. About 2-3 minutes tugging on that thing. Stuck it in behind here, broke that rust loose, rotated it, broke that rust loose, rotated it, broke that rust loose, and it wasn't but about 10-15 more rounds and that sucker was off. Took a little persuasion from the hammer, of course, you know, the #1 most used tool for pretty much any mechanic, really, I would assume. If you need them on the small stuff, I would imagine you really need them for the big stuff. But of course, they make tools for that as well. So now I'm going to hopefully go get these turned. Apparently get some parking brakes, because the ones on the passenger side were just as bad. All the way down to the bare metal. So, while we're in there, we're going to get it done. That way we'll have full stopping force. Alright, let's see what we can do. Alright, here we are on the passenger side, which is really nice because it took me about 10 or 15 minutes to figure out the driver's side, and then the passenger side was easy. So as you can see here, the plates holding them in, they've got a little edge on the end of them. So all you do is hit that bad boy with a flathead screwdriver and twist it about 90 degrees, and that thing will pop right out. And that's what's holding these things in. And then you can just take you your other flathead screwdriver, pop that top spring off, and then there's your the tightener, the adjuster, technically, I guess. And then there's for the left side, and then there's the spring on the bottom, holds both of them together. That's what I took off last, and that's what I put on first, because that's the easiest, or the hardest to get around, because it's got another sort of adjuster right here to hold the two bottom pieces. There we go, the two bottom pieces in place. So just make sure, you want to make sure and pull it all out in order. Place it all in so that you know exactly how it's supposed to go. And just for reference, you can see here, that's the old battery, the old brake pad, nothing but metal. And then here you see the metal down there on the bottom, and then you see all that pad on top of it. Big difference there. You do not want your brakes to get this bad. You want to change them definitely before this. That way you don't have to worry about getting new rotors or getting your rotors turned, because the brake pads won't have eaten into them. Alright, so now I'm going through the same process. I'm going to put the bottom spring in, slide that up in there, and then I'm going to put these anchors in, each one to hold them in place. Well, in case I can't get this spring in, then that'll hold them in place, so I can stretch the spring out, get it in place, then get this adjuster put in place, and then hopefully get it held in place while I get the spring put in around it. But you know, that's just kind of one of those things, you gotta kind of work it as you get it, you know. But hopefully here in about 10 minutes we'll be done, and I can go get the rotors, finish this job up, then take the front off and go get them turned. Dude told me it would take 2 hours to get the rears turned. So I'm running up on that limit here in about 20 or 30 minutes. It'll take me 30 minutes to get there. So hopefully we'll have this job done today. But yeah, that's the joy of living in a small town in the middle of nowhere, surrounded by other small towns. You gotta love it, baby. America. Alright, here we are, back from the parts store, and I had to grab something to eat. I got hungry too. But as you can see, there's quite a big difference between how they were when I first pulled them off and now when I got them turned. Big difference. They look much better. So now we're just gonna put them back on, put the pads on, push the cylinders for the, a little dark, I can't see over here. There it is. Push in the cylinders for the brake calipers. Well, that's not good. Alright, so I'm back from the parts store and grabbing something to eat. So as you can see, these are in much better shape than they were when I first pulled them off. As you can see, I still got my marks for my passenger, my marks for my driver's side. There we go. Light playing tricks on it. But yeah, so now all I'm gonna do So I'm going to put these bad boys back on here. I'm going to push this piston of this caliper back in with my C-clamp. And then I'll put my brake pads back in the bracket here. Put it back in the caliper. Then put it back on the rotor. And we'll be done. So hopefully here in about 10-15 minutes, we'll be done with this. Ready to move on to something else after 3 days. Gotta love small towns, baby. Let's see what we can get into. Alright, here we are the next day. Everything went well. I had some trouble getting the rotors on, squeezing them past the pad on the new parking brake shoes. So I did struggle with that a little bit. But other than that, I didn't really have any trouble at all. I didn't even really need to bleed it. I had my little, one-man bleeder kit here. And I gave each one about 4 pumps, and the whole line was full of fluid. No air bubbles at all. So that was pretty nice. Let's hope the front goes that well. I got it off. As you can see, they're pretty rough too. Have to get them turned. So it's interesting. This bolt, I don't know about this passenger side. I haven't got to it yet, but on the driver's side, it's bigger than a 19, which is what the back is. That one looks like it's about the same size, 14. But that was quite interesting. I wasn't sure if I had a socket big enough for that, so I had to go find one. Now we're about to find out what happens. Let's see what we can get into. Well, I think I got semi-lucky. It looks like my dad actually got around to changing the front brake pads on these, but they look pretty rough. I don't know what the deal is. If I had some like 800 grit sandpaper, I might knock a edge off of that or something, but I don't have any sandpaper or anything. So I think I'm just going to put this back. Oops. There we go. Not wanting to line up right. I think I'm just going to put this back, bolt it all back up, and call it a day on that. Work on some of my other projects. That's nice. That's good to know. It's a nice day. Ooh. I feel all giddy now. That's a whole item on my to-do list knocked off. Lucky, lucky, lucky. I'd do my lucky dance if I had one. But I'm not bald and I don't carry a spear around and wear a kimono. So closed-minded Americans around here would look down on me for that. Even though they cry about freedom. Gotta love it, baby. I guess I'm done here. I'll wrap this up, move on to something else.